Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the glory of BRETONNIA. Yes, yes, Speaky. Soon we will go to battle. King Lewin leading the way against the foul Greenskins, so let's get to it. I've got my double hippo build online once again. Front line of peasant mobs here. 2 Royal Hippogriff Knights. We've got 3 Battle Pilgrims backing them up. A couple of Spearmen at Arms as well. A couple of Bowmen. One of them has pox arrows. And the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis also. For my greenskin opponent, he's got a pretty solid build here. Skarsnik with almost no abilities, just WA obviously. Unit of trolls here. We've got goblins in the front line. Lots of biggins here. 4 units of biggins. Goblin archers and the rusty heirs. More goblins in the back. And 4 units of orc boar boy biggins. So a heavy front line here. We've also, one of them is the broken tusk mob. Of course, there's a night goblin shaman there as well. And I do have a live caster, naturally. Forgot to mention that earlier. It goes without saying, with this much heavy hippogriff action in the air, you pretty much have to have a live caster. Not necessarily have to, but you just can generate a ton of value with it, certainly. So yeah, Lewin moving up, doing some good scouting with the line shield up. Not really too worried about any of those missiles. So seeing my opponent's sort of build and deployment here, he also has this rock lobber, so I've definitely got to advance. Pounding out some peasant bowmen, that's fine with me. As I move up here, we're going to use the bowmen to focus on the trolls, move in the infantry to just start a general engagement, and then move Lewin and the Hippogriff Knights to try and isolate and just wreck these Orc Boar Boy Biggins without them being able to get a counter charge, ideally, because these Boar Boy Biggins will rely quite a bit on their charge bonus, only 22 attack and 20 defense, pretty poor combat stats. 50 charge bonus is not bad, and obviously with WA they'll get juiced up quite a bit. But Lewin moves in, Lion Shield, Sword of Corone goes active, and my opponent does pop a WA there. We do move in with both units of hippos as well, and you can see right off the bat the Broken Tusk Mob are pretty much done for. They've already taken a ton of damage, but the counter charge quickly comes in here, and the other units of Orc Boar Biggins here are going to be surrounding this unit of hippogriffs especially. I had dropped an Earthblood. I thought I had dropped a regrowth on them as well, but unfortunately, looks like I canceled the order. Meanwhile, on the front line, Battle Pilgrims will be trading okay. Peasants also moving in. The mobs just got absolutely lawnmowered. No surprise there, but Trolls taking quite a bit of fire here from the pox arrows and those peasant bowmen. Both very cost-effective and able to see back those Trolls there. The Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis just kind of chilling in the back line for now, but the main action is here, where these hippogriffs are taking a ton of damage, but at the same time dishing it out. We've been able to deal with, what, 3 units of Boar Boy Biggins for the most part. Granted, it has cost me quite a bit. Both units of Royal Hippogriff Knights are routed off at this point. Lewin is still alive, but this is a potential huge loss in resources. I did manage to get a regrowth on this unit of Royal Hippogriff Knights that still had 6 unit models, and they did manage to get back in the air with 6 unit models, but definitely not the best engagement by me. I was able to do quite a bit of damage, but honestly, the trade in terms of resources was probably pretty even at the end of the day, and now I'm stuck with Lewin in a potentially dangerous situation. But, you know, all's not lost. I'm going to try and actually hold Lewin here. You can see I'm pathing in order to try and get him out, just so that he doesn't lose his leadership. But if I can get him below half HP to pop the beloved Son of BRETONNIA map-wide to buff up the rest of my units, could potentially help me come back. Bounce power a little bit in my opponent's favor here. So the infantry fight isn't going amazing. The Battle Pilgrims are trading okay, especially with the support of the pox arrows, but Biggins will cut through them in time. That being said, Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, since all the Boar Biggins are busy over on the far side with Lewin, they are able to charge through here, just wreck this Goblobber, shut that down immediately, and we're going to use them to start to move through and clean up some of these other bow units as well. You can see Lewin is hanging right around 50% HP. I really don't want him to get routed off, because then he'll stop regenerating, but at the same time, if I can have Beloved Son of BRETONNIA active, I very much would like to, and you can see it is actually active at this point. So oh, it's maybe just deactivated. It's like right on the edge of being active or not. So I'm going to leave Lewin in there just to take a little bit more damage to make sure it does actually stay up. But yeah, now you can see with it up, especially units that have Frenzy in it, on top of it will do quite well, like these Battle Pilgrims, the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, and more. But yeah, here comes Lewin's Sword of Corone. We're going to use these Hippogriff Knights to now kind of bail him out of here, since he has taken enough damage. He's down pretty well below half HP, and I, again, really don't want him to get routed off here. So now the Beloved Sun should be pretty stable and active on most of these units here, buffing up their melee attack, charge bonus, giving them immunity to psychology. Not that my opponent has any terror-causing units anyway. I guess trolls cause fear, but yeah. With the Hippogriffs able to screen for him, Lewin should be able to get back up in the air here. Finally pops free of those Orc Boarboy Biggins, and unfortunately those Hippogriff Knights were mostly sacrificed in that engagement, but the other Hippogriff Knights doing quite well here. They've been just kind of ping-ponging around the back line, terrifying away various units. Still 6 unit models. They did manage to get an XP Chevron. Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis as well, 79 kills so far, just cleaning up tons of goblins in the back line. At this point, these Orc Boars are going to charge through. But these buffed up peasants will actually do quite well in this engagement. These peasant spearmen at arms up to 26 melee attack with a nice little bonus versus large. Because Orc Boar Biggins have such poor melee defense, these peasants are actually going to be super cost effective here. So I don't find myself praising filthy peasants too often, but hey, with Beloved Son of Bretonnia active, he can actually do some okay work. Granted, again, it's kind of a risky strategy and not super reliable and something you necessarily want to be happening because it means that Lewin's taking a ton of damage, but because Lewin's just generally a tanky guy, he can take it. He's going to be okay. So yeah, juiced up peasant mobs, 26 melee attack on these peasant mobs versus 26 melee attack of the melee defense of these goblins rather, means that these mobs might actually get a kill here. We'll see. They are running in with their pitchforks and their shovels and their sledgehammers out. Their farming implements, fighting these goblins here. And, yeah, they're doing okay. Let's see. They haven't got a kill yet. Oh, they just got one. I saw it tick from 1 to 2. Okay, so officially, Beloved Son of Bretonnia on peasant mobs is OP, guys. But in all seriousness, these very tattered Hippogriff Knights, only 2 of them left, but still just hanging around in the back line, fighting those Orc Boarboy Biggins, keeping them tied up. The Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis just chasing routing units all across the field. And, yeah, at this point, we have pretty much managed to come back. Bounce power well in my favor at this point. Most of the Greenskins mobile units have been dealt with. Lewin still here. I'm not going to say healthy, but taking quite a bit of damage, but regenerating, and the Blessing of the Lady is still active. He has not routed, so Damsel did get routed off at one point, but she's going to come back here and try and support a little bit against these various units. You can see the Greenskin player kind of forming up into a last defensive position. Skarsnik with his gobos preparing for the inevitable final charge here. So we'll go ahead and fast forward as we move towards that. But yeah, very fun battle. Well played to my opponent as well. I do have a few thoughts about the build, but we'll go over that in the post-battle screen. You can see all these units rallying here as that last unit of Biggins routes. And here comes the last Alpha Strike. Lewin comes down, and oh man, these Hippogriffs come in. Regiments of peasants moving in as well. Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis from the other side. We've even got Battle Pilgrims in here fighting as well. Oh man, beautiful. I just love Bretonnia. Such a cool faction, aesthetically, thematically. It was a super cool, even like the map and the matchup as well for this particular match. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed playing and casting it, because holy cow, this is the kind of game that I play for. Super, super fun. Nice back and forth there. And yeah, at this point, it's just a matter of time before Skarsnik gives up the fight. One final defiant wah from the spiteful little goblin as he holds out here against overwhelming odds. But yeah, surrounded by Hippogriffs is going to be the end for Skarsnik, no doubt. Oh man, that poor Battle Pilgrim caught in the middle. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anyway, well played to my opponent. Hopefully you enjoyed that. 165 kills at the end of the day at the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. Honestly, I'm pretty glad that I held them back in reserve for as long as I did. They were able to come in kind of in the later stages of the game and just kind of sweep through that back line after most of the Boar Biggins were either dealt with or still busy trying to deal with Lewin, or the other Hippogriffs that afforded the defenders the flexibility to get to the back line to just clean up a lot of these light units. Battle Pilgrims trading okay. They kind of got beat up by Orc Biggins a little bit there, but I mean, for the cost, they'll trade against most lower tier Greenskin infantry, and, you know, they're reasonably decent. They have good leadership and frenzy, so Peasant Bowmen also doing quite well, helping see off the trolls, obviously, very important. Peasant Mob with 15 kills, they get an extra half loaf of bread for the next month. And 60 killed by Lewin, not too bad. For my opponent, obviously, the Orc Biggins just blowing up peasant lines, just absolutely clobbering them left and right, no surprises there. Outside of that, the Orc Boar Biggins, I should say, were able to do some pretty good damage to the Hippogriff Knights. Credit to my opponent there in sort of surviving that alpha strike very well. He did a good job of countercharging in, sort of when a unit was getting low, sweeping it out and cycle charging back in. I didn't really talk about it too much, but he did a reasonably decent job of that. But at the same time, I just don't see Orc Boar Biggins really paying out that often. They can pay out in the right scenario, but they're just not really consistent enough in my opinion. So personally, I would probably change that build up a little bit. So if we go ahead and have a look here, rather than, like, I might take the Broken Tusk Mob specifically, but rather than those other 3 units of Biggins, I might cut them for, let's see, that's what, like 3,000 for the Arachnarok Queen, and then supplement the other slots for like a couple of Spider Riders just to give some extra poison presence in the front line. Definitely I like the pick of the Biggins there. Goblins are always a good pick. Skarsnik I like as well here. He's reasonably durable. He can kind of take a charge. You saw he held out there even against Lewin himself for quite a while. You know, that anti-large, that charge defense means he's reasonably durable against getting gooned by flying and lords. Night Goblin Shaman, also a really good pick here. I would personally say Sneaky Stabbin' is going to be a must pick. I might take the Vindictive Glare as well to try and snipe out a caster, but sometimes the casters come on unicorns, which gives them a bit of magic resistance, and it's not necessarily worth it, so it's a little bit more reliable to just take Itchy Nuisance, Sneaky Stealin', and Gorkle Fix-It as well. Very, very important here. The charge bonus, speed, and charge speed debuff can be very key. So I would take those. Sneaky Stealin', of course, you would want to have as well. And from here, we can do a few different things. The Gobblobber is a reasonably decent idea just to kind of pressure your opponent into coming towards you. Or if you want to go with more of a rush-centric build. I mean, we are missing missile units, but Nasty Skulkers are going to be a pretty good option in this matchup. The speed debuff, the Smoke Bomb, really, really nice at slowing down Bretonnian Heavy Cavalry, or, you know, Hippogriffs if you need to pin them on the ground. Skulkers as well, if you can juice them up with, like, Wah, maybe a Sneaky Stabbin', because they have so many unit models, they'll actually trade reasonably well against Hippogriff Knights, as long as they can hold their leadership together. But something like this, I think, might be pretty decent. Again, we are lacking a little bit in the missile department, so I might play with this infantry composition a little bit, maybe just take 3 Biggins and 2 Skulkers, and then take the Rusty Arrows and a couple of other Goblin Archers, something like that. I don't know, you could kind of play around with this a little bit and sort of see where it takes you, but Broken Tusk Mob, I would say, are probably a decent pick. The Arachnarok Queen, for me, is an auto-include. Like, you almost have to have this in this matchup, in my opinion. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.